Hello Twitchies and welcome to your Achilles guide. Step 1, we're gonna be rocking him in solo. Doesn't matter whether you're playing him in the solo or the jungle, you are going to be taking off your shirt. Now looking at their composition, they are triple physical and it looks like I'm against either a Suki or a Bastet over in that solo lane. So I'm gonna start myself off with a Warrior's Axe. Honestly, Achilles has a lot of potential good starts over in the solo lane in terms of his actual start. You can go, he can get away with a more aggressive Bluestone. He can get away with Sigil. He can get away with Warrior's Axe. I prefer Warrior's Axe because Warrior's Axe gives you a little bit of sustain. And he already has sustain built in his kit with his 2. So I find that that's quite helpful. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure that you're subscribed and hit that like button and make sure you ring that bell for notifications so you don't miss a video. So for our active, we are going to be starting with Teleport. Teleport right now seems to be the strongest solo lane active, particularly upgrading it into that persistent teleport, which is on that right hand side. That teleport has a 90-second baseline cooldown, and it gets even lower when you participate in kills, which just makes it stronger and stronger and stronger. So the presence that you really get around the map with that is kind of nuts. So as far as our starting build here in the solo lane, you can see that we have opted for the Warrior's Axe going into a Breastplate of Valor. Breastplate of Valor right now, you're pretty much going to see bought on every single solo laner eventually because it has that new glyph system. Both of the upgrades, by the way, for Breastplate of Valor, actually good and viable depending on the game that you're in. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. You're going to see that I have not gone directly into the Runeforged Hammer. Runeforged Hammer, I would say the most common of the solo lane items right now. Most common to go into first. Achilles, unfortunately, does not have a very good way of proccing Runeforged Hammer on his own. And so it can actually still be a later game item for Achilles, because later in the game you can just worry about like your teammates proccing it for you. But in the actual laning phase, he really doesn't have a lot of ways to get benefits out of the passive, but stat-wise, still a good item. And honestly, going directly into it, I still don't hate. I pretty much like it on a plethora of gods right now. I like it in the jungle. I like it in the solo. You could probably get away with it on support if you're rocking a physical support mid. It is just a good item. So as far as our leveling order here on Achilles, it's going to depend on what role you are on, because we are on the solo lane and not the jungle. We are going to be leveling up our 3 to max first. The reason why you do that is because you can actually proc the 3 multiple times in the laning phase, as long as your very first use of it hits an enemy god. If you're in the jungle, you're gonna level the 1 first to max, and that is of course because when you're farming in the jungle, you don't have any enemy gods to hit with the 3, which means you're only gonna get 1 utilization out of that combat dodge like this, and then it does less damage overall than your 1. The reason why we take off our shirt at the beginning of the game on Achilles is because we want the extra lane clear. We get right now 13 extra power for having our shirt off, showing off our pecs. And what that really translates to is simply better lane clear in the early stages of the game. In the jungle, you would go ahead and keep off your shirt the entire game. In the solo lane, we are going to transition and put our clothes back on, become more business attire appropriate. Right around that 3rd or 4th major item is when we are going to be switching that back over. So right now I'm waiting till I have enough gold to get my Breastplate of Valor. I'm about to have enough gold for my Breastplate of Valor. So I'm gonna back up for it after clearing the wave to make sure I don't miss out on any XP. And then I'm going to teleport myself right back over to that lane. Now this teleport, you can rank up early. Right now, I'm leaning into ranking up teleport after finishing my first item. Yes, that early, because it takes down the cooldown so much, and it's really not that expensive of an item to actually have to rank up. And you do get a lot of value out of it. Now I need to double check the active that Suki has. Suki has meditation, which means I need to be careful not to fall for a med bait against this Suki with my ultimate. Meditation's a very common active to get against Achilles because you can med bait him in the lane. That way he can't execute you. Meditation was also just generically a very popular relic to run in the solo lane in Season 8. I have found that with the changes to teleport is simply generically a better relic right now. The HP that you get for just teleporting back over instead of the meditation is generally superior. You do have to watch out for getting med baited early in the game, regardless of whether or not you have an execute, but you do need to be careful about that. And in the late game stages of the game, you have to realize that you are not going to have those minus cooldowns for your team, but instead of those minus cooldowns for your team, what you're going to provide is a whole lot of presence all game long. So you can see with my 3, I am consistently using it for that poke on the Tsukiyomi. He should actually be using his 1 a little bit more on me for poke, so I'm winning most of these poke battles actually right now. For the official level order, by the way, on Achilles, it is a little bit funky. It is going to be 3, 1, 2, 4. You only get 1 point in your ultimate on Achilles, and that is because you are using your ultimate as a execute. And so the actual base damage of this ability, simply not relevant. So over here, we're getting our 3 to max. You can see how much poke we are doing with it. Then we'll do our 1, our 2, and finally our ultimate. Now, before you go ahead and use all of your abilities on the wave, before you go ahead and use your combos on Achilles, you want to make sure that you have your 2 popped. Your 2 gives you that bonus damage. It gives you a little bit of sustain off of your abilities. It's giving you percent protections, damage, all sorts of good stuff. And it is also an auto attack cancel. Auto attack cancels are huge on Achilles. I'll kind of show you right now. Auto 2, you can see the auto attack come out. Auto in between ability, auto in between ability. That is what you want to go ahead and do on Achilles. As many auto attacks in between your abilities as you can. He's very good at resetting his auto attack animation by continually using abilities and auto attacking in between them.
Worry not.
Achilles also has a very, very simple, straightforward auto attack chain, which is literally just 1, 1, 1. It actually never stops. He just has a 1 auto attack chain. I'm going to grab myself my persistent teleport. I'm also going to start working myself on a little bit of magical defenses here. I'm going to start making my way into a heart word. Not because I necessarily need the heart word a ton right now, but I do know that I am going to want it later in the game. Heart word right now, very common pickup on solo laners because you rank up that heart word into the amulet of the stronghold, and then you get a bunch of magical defenses for building physical defenses. And yes, it is as good as it sounds. Really good. If I wanted to, I probably could have gotten away with just grabbing another physical defense item for early over here in the solo. Because I am against a physical jungler and a physical solo laner, I could have probably gone for the back-to-back.
Pour some water on me.
But I am going to get the heart word anyway, so it's really not that big of a deal. And I probably shouldn't be dying to a jungle gank at this stage of the game anyway. Just constantly kind of using my 3 for poke, trying to hit the wave and him when at all possible, but if I have to choose between one or the other, I am going to be choosing him at this point. For our standard combination on Achilles, we're going to be popping our 2, then we go in with our 3. You can see trying to weave those auto attacks in between abilities whenever I can, and just utilizing that poke. Because I've got the early breastplate, it does mean that I've got 20% CDR from that, plus the extra 10 from that blue buff. So my poke is very, very annoying very, very quickly. And you can see because I've already ranked up the teleport, my teleport is already back up again, which means I don't have to worry about no sustain or nothing. Very convenient in order to have that teleport on such a low cooldown. Another thing that I'm going to go ahead and back and buy after my next back is I'm going to make sure to get myself that Chalice of Healing. Chalice of Healing, still a very good solo line item in terms of the sustain that it provides. I recommend grabbing it somewhere after your first item, but before you finish your second item. That is generally where you're going to pick it up. If you do get really behind in lane for some reason, taking you a long time to get the first item online, sometimes you have to suck it up and just go ahead and grab that chalice. But in general, I like the chalice after the first item's completion, but before we start completing the second one. You can do it right away after the first item if you want to. Gonna go ahead and grab myself that T2. Gonna get myself a little Chalice of Healing. I can teleport myself right back over. Also gonna grab myself a couple of wards. As far as ranking up the glyphs on the solo lane, you're gonna wanna rank up these glyphs a little bit earlier than you would rank up, say, the Rod of Tahuti glyph for Agni. I like to rank them up right around the time that I finish my third item. I find that that's where I'm going back to level them up. Always leveling up that breastplate first. Breastplates upgrades are really strong. The Heartward upgrade into Stronghold is very good in the later stages of the game because it's giving you percent protections based off of your protections. Obviously, the more items that you have, the better that it is going to be, which means that it's more of a later game upgrade. That breastplate upgrade, though, we're going to talk about both of them because both of these are really viable. You've got your determination upgrade and you've got your vengeance upgrade. In general, to keep this simple, does the enemy team have a lot of auto attack gods that are wrecking me, especially something like crit? If yes, go ahead and buy that right-hand side upgrade, Vigilance. If the enemy does not just have pure auto attack based damage, perhaps they've got a nice spread of damage, they've got a lot of physical, and they've got a lot of magical damage, go ahead and grab that left-hand side upgrade, that determination. It is going to give you a ton of protections. So right-hand side, good for your team against auto attackers. Left-hand side, good for yourself against general compositions. I finished that second item, so I am going to go ahead, finish that determination. I can also start to teleport back in, and I'm going to grab myself a blink as my second active on Achilles. You can see how useful this teleport has been to me this game. Over and over and over and over again, just being able to come right back into the fight. Now, I do actually want to dive for the Suki. I think that he has a lot of abilities down. I don't know if he has a lot up to escape me. He sure does not, and that is why we like to get the blink on Achilles as well. Really just comes down to that utility.
Security, just in case things get
Being a little bit careful here against the Bastet. He actually probably could kill me, so I need to be a little bit wary of that. If he has his ulti up, I could be in a lot of trouble, so we're going to kind of see what he decides to do here. But he may not actually have it up. which gives me another chance to potentially live through this. He's very low on mana. Unfortunately, there's also an Ares here, so the plot kind of thickens on this one, but I will be able to at least pick up that kill before I die. He's gonna go for the ulti on me, and I should die from this. Ooh, actually, I might be able to get a little bit of a spicy meatball here, depending on if or not I can dodge this next chain. He's really waiting on the chain to try to hit me with it, but because I dodged that chain, I might actually be able to get away from this now.
I'm exhausted.
For my third item here on Achilles, I've got good CDR, we've got good physical and magical defenses, we've got good sustain. I'm going to take myself right into a CAD shield and teleport myself back over towards the lane. Now, right after I finished my CAD shield, that's about the time in the game when I'm going to start considering putting some clothes back on. If I want to wait one more item after that, I still have the ability to do so if I feel like I'm not actually in any threat of dying. CAD shield is kind of a natural combination with Achilles, especially if you're going to go the Warrior's Axe. Warrior's Axe, a little bit of sustain, benefits from that CAD shield. Achilles abilities with the 2, a little bit of sustain, benefits from that CAD shield. You're grabbing Chalices of Healing, all sorts of stuff. Your support might have a meditation. He does. All good, also good for your team in general.
Pour some water on me.
For Achilles in the laning phase, there's really one thing that Achilles hates. That one thing is going to be cripples. More so than anything, provide Achilles with a lot of problems. And that is because such a huge part of your damage is such a huge part of your damage on Achilles does come from your 3, and of course your 3 is a movement ability, so you cannot actually utilize that if you are crippled. So gods like Ardio, Ares, who came over if you would have landed that chain, very problematic for Achilles. You hate to have to use your ultimate as a CC immunity, but as we just did with the Bastet, obviously living is better than dying, but isn't it a lot more fun to just go ahead and use Achilles ult to assassinate people? Speaking of using Achilles ult to assassinate people, it tends to be a ability that people struggle with. This is not an easy to hit ability. Step 1, have no fear. It's not just you. This is an ability that is missed all the way up to pro players. Not even they hit it all the time. So don't worry about it. In general, while you're trying to get better at Achilles ult, I recommend standing closer to the enemy target. I'm going to call for a Gold Fury really quick, and I'm going to teleport over there. But just in general, stand closer to your target. A lot easier to hit that Achilles ult when the target is in point blank range than if you're trying to hit like a max distance YOLO Achilles ult. And eventually you'll get better at it, and those will start to come. A quick note, by the way, about why meditation, I think, is the meta active for solo lane as your first relic. Your second relic, I want to be clear, you have a lot of options. You have a lot of options on solo lane. Sometimes it's a blink, sometimes it's a sunder, sometimes you have to get beads. There's a lot of options over in the solo lane for that second relic slot. But that first slot, you can see the persistent teleport, how often I've been able to go around the map and have presence. I just teleported over to quickly do a Gold Fury while not missing out on any farm and solo, etc. And this is crucial. This is crucial. Teleport goes to the obelisk. It goes to the obelisk. You can teleport to it at all stages of the game, which means that even if your team doesn't have a ward over near the Gold Fury, even if your towers are gone, you can teleport over to the obelisk, which is huge map presence potential. Not to mention this relic literally has like a 50-second cooldown if you're getting kills, which is just gnarly.
Don't be rude.
A lot of people don't realize that you can teleport over the way. Now, you can't teleport to the enemy. You can't go to their obelisk, but you can. You can see it popped up right there. You can go to yours. And that is a big flippin' deal. Also, to be noted, on Achilles 3, you don't have to use it right away. When you hit that first dash and you're moving into that second dash, that is not something that you have to do directly. So, for example, if I wanted to dash and then just kind of hold, you can see I'm just kind of holding it right now. Not actually using it, then I can go ahead and use it again when the time is convenient for me. You do have a couple of seconds between them. You have plenty of time to get in some auto attacks or something if you want to. I am going to get Suki ultied as well as Bastet ultied, so I am probably going to go down here, but that's all right. As far as ranking up Blink, the two Blink ranked upgrades are Corrupted Blink and Scorching. Scorching was a nice, fantastic meme on the PTS. Nowadays, a lot more balanced. Having just the regular Blink tends to be plenty fine. Now, because our Heart Word is going to convert our physical protections to magical protections, it does mean that I want to focus in a little bit more on physical protections. So I'm going to go ahead and start working myself towards that height of the Nemean Lion. Once I finish the height of the Nemean Lion, going to switch over from my shirtless form to my full clothes on form. Going to be an absolutely gnarly tank at the end of this game. Gonna be able to teleport right in as well towards that mid lane. Hopefully we can start to go and attack that Pyromancer. As far as my job at the end of a game on Achilles, my job is just to be annoying to the backline. As an Achilles, your job is not to peel for your team. That is gonna be Atlas's job. My job is mostly to be initiating and distracting whoever their biggest damage dealer is. So in this case, that is most likely just going to be the Agni, who I'm going to kind of dive myself right over towards. Get some quite nice damage on him. Looks like Susano's making his way over. I am going to tank this tower for my team, and we should be able to finish off the Agni without too many problems. I am going to go back and try to help out with this Tsukiyomi, though, because my Aphrodite needs me, and I got nothing better to do. Really good pull there from our Susano. Should be able to kill the Suki as long as the Susano ulti was going to hit, I said, but actually, we actually didn't need that anyway. And now we can go look directly at the Fire Giant. Going to put out a deep ward over here, and I am going to start tanking this Fire Giant for my team.
Pour some water on me.
So at the end of this game, I'm really just looking to W key straight at their Agni in the back line. He seemed to be a big problem, as well as the Danza, and I will have plenty. Well, we actually gotta be a little careful right here.
Retreat.
They've got Bastet coming in, so we need to kind of just chill out. Oh, unfortunate. He's gonna have to jump back away from this, so I am waiting for his final location. We lose our Aphrodite, but we're actually gonna go ahead and get 2 off of this anyway. So not a horrible trade, and we can go back in to immediately doing this once more. And now we have our Huyi here, so we actually have way more damage. Agni probably won't be able to make it here in time. We do have decent vision out. I'm gonna have to be a little bit careful. Atlas is trying to also decide whether or not he's going to have to go zone. This is a slightly uncomfortable Fire Giant for us, but we will be able to grab it in time. As far as pairings with Achilles, because of the nature of him being over in the solo lane, not really a lot of direct pairings that you're going to run with him. You need to make sure that I put my shirt back on, which is going to give me those bonus 300 HP and 43 protections, which means my protections right now 325. Woo! We're capped on physical protections. And then we're going to be able to rank up this Heart Word. We're going to grab the Stronghold, and because we've got so many physical protections, it's going to give us so many magical protections. The reason why we end up doing this giant tanky shift late game is because in the late game, all we're trying to do is basically run around, be annoying, and then execute low HP targets. we don't need HP, or excuse me, we don't need damage in order to be executing the enemy. All we need is to be alive. As long as we're alive, then they can be dead. So we're not really looking for any particular pairings on Ares. He's not really a setup god. He's not really a peeler. He doesn't need anybody to help him out. He's kind of just over there in his lonesome, which is really the theme for solo laners.
Show's not over yet.
Which is really the theme. It's kind of their job. So most of the guys just solo laners like, you don't really pair them with anybody. They just kind of over there on their own little island. Now here in the late stages of the game, I am looking towards my team. I'm going to teleport over towards that mid lane. I'm going to call for the gank if we can get there in time. So I know we got the Susano coming over. We got the Danza. Put out a nice little deep ward right here just to see if they know that I'm coming. They do not. Going to go back for this Suki and the Ares because the whole team is basically right here. Looks like Ares is going to be in that execute threshold, but he's got a lot of people that can body block for him. So I'm going to go around the back on this, see if I can just kind of waddle directly out of Tsukiyomi instead. And then use my ultimate on that Tsukiyomi for the execute instead of potentially using it earlier on that Ares and not getting a lot of use out of it. Now I can use it again, bring myself in a little bit closer towards that Danza, which my blink was back up so I could get over to it, but I'm in combat from that Agni Flame Wave. Now my job is to kind of get in here, tank the tower for the team a little bit if they need it. Atlas can also do that job as well. We've got a full wave of creeps, so I can go ahead and reset that. I don't need to keep tanking it. Gonna call for that attack left lane. We've got the Oni creeps over in left lane. Looks like Basta is going to go for Woojer pretty hard right here. He may still jump back off of this. He did. Doesn't look like I have a lot of kill potential on him. The Ares is going to keep going for me. So we need to start waddling our way right out of this one. Still got good sustain because of my CAD shield and stuff. If my ultimate was back up, he would actually have some pretty solid kill potential here. But it's not, so we don't. Susano is coming back up. My ultimate's up real soon. This Ares is getting pretty greedy, if I do say so myself. In fact, ultimate not even going to be necessary because Susano is going to be able to finish him off. Now, I am going to back right now. I have the ability to do so because I do have this teleport, so I can teleport back into a ward, which brings up a good point. Make sure you have a ward on you at all times in the ultra late stages of the game, so that way you can actually get utilization out of that teleport. So I'm gonna go ahead and teleport back in toward my Aphrodite, try to help her out after finishing my warrior's act.
Goodbye.
You can see how annoying I am just kind of running at their team right now with how many protections that I have on Achilles. It's very frustrating to fight against in the ultra late stages of the game. And now, because of the heart word, we have an extra 32 magical protection from this item. Not to mention how many protections heart word gives out. Because you have to factor in, listen, heart word gives 55 magical protections, right? Except for, it actually gives more than that. Because there's also an aura. It gives out an extra 20. So it's actually a 75 magical protection item. Reminder that you get the effect of your own auras in Smite. Then on top of that, we have the 10% from our physical protections, which are basically capped. So now we're getting that from the Heartward. Heartward becomes a 100 magical defense item. What? Crazy, dude. Crazy. Now I'm looking towards that Bastet in the back line. I don't think I have the ulti to kill him. I may end up having the ulti if he comes back this way. Unfortunately, it looks like he's going to be able to run away. I don't really care who my target is. I just want to kill somebody, so I'm diving in towards this Ares. See if I can't get him down into threshold as well. Would be really nice to get another execute off. They are real low, and they're peeling for each other real hard, so we actually have to be a little bit careful because we're not entirely grouped up.
Need healing.
Now I'm going to go ahead, and for my last item, I'm going to get something a little bit more damage forward. I'm going to grab myself that Rune Forge. I can teleport back into this fight, so I'm going to start my teleport and make sure that I have a Sentry Ward. Reminder you can buy during that teleport animation. Gonna chase myself right towards this Agony. That is his dash down. Gotta go ahead and use my ultimate right here to close the gap on Agony and to get that CC immunity. And then I can just kind of keep waddling around at the Danza. So really, what we're waiting for right now is we're waiting for a fight where I put this presence on the back line, and then my back line beats their Basta and beats their Suki. Unfortunately, that Basta is real flipping hard, don't she? So right now, all we basically are waiting for is our back line in order to beat their front line, and that's kind of the name of the game right now. We're beating their back line. We're doing our job. We're killing the Agony. We're zoning out the Danza. We're getting nice 1v2s back there. So at this point, all we're waiting for is a quick pick on that Basta. It looks like we can kill that Basta. We'll be in a very good position in a team fight. For this relic, I'm gonna get myself, both are good, Scorching Blink and Corrupted Blink. Get myself that Scorching, just for a little bit of extra damage in that backline. Give me a better shot of getting a quick 1v1 onto one. Just a quick 1v1. Also, believe it or not, my teleport is up, because persistent teleport is always up. It is so good.
Enemies at the fire giant.
So I'm gonna teleport myself back into this fight so I can be there immediately. Throw down that sentry ward on the fire giant. My target priority, still zoning out the Agony, zoning out the Danza, if at all possible.
God, that feels good.
Team fight priority, killing this Basta.
Be careful. Be careful.
Pour some water on me.
That is a lot of flipping poke damage there, eh? Ares ult down for my ult is a fantastic trade for us. That's a huge ability to have down. I gotta get away from these creeps that are keeping me in combat right now. It's just a tier 2 tower. You don't have to be like that worried about it. Bastet is actually gonna go right back here where I was just kind of sitting here waiting for her. And now we're getting Bastet out of the fight, which is going to be huge for the team. That should go a long way for us. We do grab that kill onto Bastet. It looks like Suki is looking for an ulti onto our team, and he is gonna find that. I'm gonna put out a deep ward back here because there's the Agony, who I need to be kind of zoning out. Danza in the back line, a little bit out of position. So I'm gonna start walking back towards him, start body blocking for my Woojer, try to dash in front of this rocket so that this Danza cannot get away. And if we can finish this Danza, we might be in a good enough position to go ahead and get ourselves a fire giant or something. Suki doesn't have his ulti up. In fact, if we can kill this Suki, we might be able to go for kind of a little cheeky game end right here. No, Agony is around the back line. He's getting a lot of damage off. We got to be careful.
Be careful.
We can just go attack right, and we can go for the fire giant. We've got the Aphrodite for the sustain. So I should be able to just kind of zone them out and chillax.
Attack fire
Yep.
giant.
Attack fire giant.
I'm on Operation Zone duty. More important for me to keep out the Agony than the Suki if I do have to choose between them. I can see Agony is going to try to go this long way around, trying to get around behind me. Agony is still trying to go this long way around. But because we made him go so far, I'm going to use my ultimate once again to close the gap here on the Agony. That way I can keep my dive going on him.
Retreat. Retreat.
Agony is at 1 HP. The creep's almost finished him for me. Not sure if I'm going to be able to finish him. Looks like Susano might be able to. Ooh, this is actually getting a little bit awkward. Danza is going to get a giant blood force proc off of that, which is kind of ugly. Tsukiyomi ulti is down. Seems that there's a Bastet around the corner. Now what I'd really like to do is quickly find a way out of this fight, call for an attack right lane, and then teleport immediately back into right. Looks like we are going to be able to start teleporting back in immediately. I'm going to finish that Rune Forge Hammer, grab myself a Sentry Ward, start heading in toward this fight. I know the Bastet and the Danza are both right here. Danza uses Aegis. I'm just trying to keep him around this tower so we can get somebody else in here with me. There he goes. And now that should be a dead dancer. Now, unfortunately, the Bastet is still alive. So we're going to have to just go ahead and bag out. We can go get ourselves like the Pyromancer or something right now.
Follow me.
And then we can back up and shove the left lane. Great game, though. Great game. So far, nothing has really been killing me particularly fast. It's really just a matter of trying to kill their backline before Bastet kills our backline. We can back up, grab ourselves a little red pie as well.
Gotta stay
Start
hydrated in this line of work.
shoving out that left lane. Yeah, the left lane.
Don't be rude.
Also gonna grab myself actually this little green buff right here. Give myself even more HP. More important for me to have that than the support, honestly, at this stage of the game. They do have a Bastet over here. She's going for the quick pick. But if we get the kill, oh, that's so big. That's so big. Let our Woojer heal off of those waves. Shove up the left lane. 1 minute with Bastet dead. That's a big one. Hey guys, my persistent teleport is up. I was just wondering if you were wondering if my teleport was up because it's always up, okay? It's always up. All right, time to get involved. Actually, not quite yet. Time to get involved. We gotta wait for our team to shove. That's a really good win for us. I'm blinking in on the back line, looking to zone out the Suki, the Danza, the Agony. I'm diving straight at this Danza, who's gonna be able to get away from me. That's all right. Ares looks like he is gonna die in the back line. Nobody else quite in the threshold. I'm gonna ulti, see if he gets in the threshold. By the time I get there, he is not. I am tanking the Titan right now, but I think it's gonna be fine. Man, we just can't quite kill that Suki. Took a while. Ah! I just got Bastet grabbed into the fountain, dude. What a Bastet respawn time right there. Very rude. They are quite low. This is still a winnable fight, and they can end the game. Holy cow, almost a penta. Dude, give him the penta. You guys got this. No! As long as Aphrodite can get in on the Titan. Oh, no. The creeps. He needs a little bit of assist on. This is so awkward. Atlas actually might be able to end the game by himself. Oh, my goodness. It's so close. No, he ran out of creeps. If Aphrodite and Atlas would have stayed together right there, they would have been fine. Oh my God! Woo! What was that, dude? What was that? Holy Atlas damage. Well, we didn't quite end the game. Their Titan is low. The Aphrodite, Hope, and the Atlas should have just stayed together at the very end because they would have remained linked. They would have been totally fine and been able to end it, but we still gotta be careful. That Bastet can still come around in one shot. My goodness. Holy cow, dude. That flipping Titan.
I'll attack the Titan.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should go for Fire Giant because it's about to respawn and they're going to have to defend for their Titan. So we should be able to get a free fire here. And then after the free fire, we should be able to go up and shove. Gotta get our Woojer up here, though.
Your middle
I'm gonna
tower
leave this
is under
right
attack.
here, just in case.
Be careful, middle.
I am on zoning duty. Atlas can tank.
Attack Fire Giant. Be careful, middle.
He should be a little bit careful over there. If he goes for a pick, that can be sick. Like if Agni's over there defending for left Phoenix, that could be a really good pick, but he has to be careful. He's going for the end, which is really risky. If he resets, it's gonna be close though. Yeah, see that right there?
Okay.
Unnecessarily risky play. Luckily, we are still gonna get the Fire Giant. But if he waits a little bit until we get that Fire Giant, then we just all run in there together, and now he delayed us being able to run in there together. We got to be very careful here. Because we do obviously want to go straight for it if we could, but we do got to be very careful in the back line now. Things are getting very awkward very quickly. They are going to try to force the fight on us. I'm going to teleport myself over to that left-hand side and see if I can't get in on this right now that I have the enhanced fire giant. Titan HP is low, but really not killable, and they're all gonna back, so I'm not gonna be able to go in there on that. Not gonna be able to quite get it by myself. But we did help zone them out from the team. You can see we forced them to back, which means that the Tsukiyomi got caught out by himself, which now we have the power play on the pick for a solid minute. Huge.
You are strong.
Bastet in a really awkward spot. If we can just get like one auto, there it is. Now we get to walk down and end the game.
Okay.
So right there, even though we really weren't going to be able to go in and end the game because Bastet was there by herself, we provided enough in the form of zoning, and now we get to actually just go in and end the game. So on Achilles, shirt off. Before you put shirt on, make sure you grab yourself that breastplate and heartware. Honestly, on like every solo laner right now, I would say that those are probably my two most common items. And a rune-forged hammer gives you so much damage in the early game, just not for Achilles because he doesn't have really a great way to proc it. But if you're playing like a Chalk, Robin, really all the solo laners have good CC that aren't Achilles in the early game for proccing that rune-forged hammer. And of course, in the late game, run directly at their backline, do just as much damage as the damage dealers, mitigate 100k damage, and of course, make sure that you're liking, commenting, and subscribing, guys, for more content, and that is your Achilles guide. Thank you for supporting the Twitchiest community. If you'd like to see more videos, make sure you subscribe to the channel and always hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. Thank you for all your support and have a Twitchin' day, y'all.